welcome to another edition of Shed Talk. And a couple of weeks ago we got all of the cockbirds out and went through a full assessment of the cockbirds. If you haven't seen that video where I did that, I will put a link across the top of the screen now. But it's time to assess all the hens. So I finally got them all out of the main flight. They're in the show cages in batches at the moment, so I need to split them up a little bit. That's what we'll plan for this video. So while I'm getting them out of the batches and putting them into individual show cages, it's time to have a look at one of our viewers' birds. Well, I hope you enjoyed that short look at some of Mohammed Afzal's birds. I hope I pronounced your name correctly, Mohammed, and thanks again for sending those pictures to me. If you want your birds to appear in any of the videos, just PM me some photos of them or post them up on the Shed Talk Facebook page, and I'll include them in a future video. But like I said, I've got the hens all sorted now. And what I'll do is a bit like what I did with the cockbirds in the previous video, I'll just run through the top sort of 10 hens that I'm planning to or thinking about using in the breeding cage coming up, and I'll talk a little bit about each bird. So let's start with number 10. So these are the first two birds we're going to look at, and we'll start with this opaline cobalt. This hen is a 2020 bred bird and was one of the birds that I picked up really cheaply as an outcross, mainly due to the features around the mast that I was looking to improve on my Blue Series birds, you may remember, and I think this one will certainly help with that particular feature. I'll need to think about who I put this bird with. It's quite a broad bird, nice stocky, very hen looking across the top of the head, but perhaps could do with being a little bit more upright in terms of the way she sits on the perch. So once again, think about what I will need to put this opaline cobalt hen to. We'll have a look at the second bird. This again is a 2020 bred bird, but this one is one of mine. Opaline cinnamon sky blue dominant pied. This bird was in the breeding cages last year and actually produced 2 offspring, one of which is a cockbird that made the top 10 of the cocks, although fairly low down. She actually comes from quite a nice pedigree, coming from a nice yellow-faced dominant pied that I bred a couple of years ago. Unfortunately, it's no longer with us, so has the potential to produce some nice offspring. Need to think about which of the cockbirds I'm going to put her with. But those were the first two birds we're going to look at, which was birds number 10 and 11 in my initial rundown when I assessed the hens. So that's those two birds. You can see them side by side here, and it certainly shows the cobalt's width and the slightly longer looking opaline cinnamon. So birds 1 and 2. So these are the next two birds we're going to look at, with the starting with this light blue cinnamon. This bird is a 2020 bred bird and was an outcross, you may remember, from last year that I bought in. sits right across the perch, but other than that, quite a nice bird, nice big spots, and nice long depth of mask. You may remember that last year we put this hen to a couple of cockbirds, and she refused to go down. So I'm hoping that this year she will perform a little bit better for me. I'm going to try and put her to a proven cockbird, so at least we'll know that the cockbird is happy to breed, and if she doesn't go down, then I guess that I will put it down to experience with this particular cinnamon hen. Once again, quite a henny looking head, but with a nice deep mask and plenty of spots. So that's this light blue cinnamon hen. The next bird we're going to have a look at is this opaline light green. This was bred off of the other outcross that I got last year, and is late bred, so 2022, a late bred 2022 hen. So I will need to probably leave this bird until quite close to the end of the breeding season, or certainly the end of this year, before I think about putting her in a cage. She's got lots and lots of spots on her, as you can see, but that of course also shows up above the top of the head, so quite badly flecked, and if it hadn't been for the flecking, I think this bird would have come slightly higher up than where she currently is, which was sort of 7 1/8 placed within my rundown. I will need to think about what I'm going to put her to. She will definitely need to go to a clean cockbird, and probably not an opaline, to try and ease out some of the excess markings that this bird has got. So that's the next two birds, so birds 7 and 8 in my rundown, and we'll now move on to birds 5 and 6. So here are the next two birds. We've got a dark green on the left, and we'll start with this cinnamon light green that is on the right. This cinnamon light green is a 2021 bred hen, and last year she went into the breeding cage with the sky blue that we saw a couple of weeks ago when we did the cockbirds, and indeed she is the mother of the cobalt that came out, I think, top of the, or at least amongst the top two, I think, of the cockbirds, and she's also the mother of the dark green that we're going to look at in a minute. So a proven breeder and proven to breed some quite nice birds. The question is, do I put her back to the sky blue that she went with last year, given that we know that she will take to him and that they have produced some nice looking birds, or do I try her with a different cockbird and get a couple of half brothers and sisters for the birds that were bred last year? So that's my thought at the moment around this bird, is just trying to work out what I'm going to put her back to. So what we'll do now then is we'll have a look at her daughter, which is the dark green. So here is the dark green, like I say, the daughter of the bird we've just looked at, and sister to the cobalt. So very early bred 2022, so she could go in the breeding cages almost straight away, or certainly towards the end of October. Not a bad bird. If any, the big problem I have with her at the moment is that she does seem to have a little bit of that, showing that hinge tail, that I'm desperately trying to get rid of. But given her pedigree and the blood that she's from, I think I will give her a try out this year. So a dark green hen, 2022 bred. Thoughts on that one? And indeed thoughts on these two. You can see them both together here. Mother on the right, daughter on the left. So that's these two birds. What we'll do now is we'll take a look at birds 3 and 4. So let's look at the next two birds then. We've got the yellow-faced grey that we'll look at first, this bird here. This yellow-faced grey then is the daughter of the sky blue bird, cockbird that we like, showing quite a lot of his features. This is a 2021 bred bird. It was bred quite late, and so far I've not got any offspring off of her, but she is one of my better hens, so she will undoubtedly go in the breeding cage quite early this year, so I can get a few off of her, or hopefully get a few rounds from her. Quite a nice stylish bird, no sign of the hinge tail, reasonable size, nice head and a reasonable depth of mask. So overall this yellow-faced grey I quite like and will definitely go into the breeding cage. Now we'll look at this cinnamon light green. This cinnamon light green then was an early 2021 bred bird, and as you can see it had a little bit of feather plucking as a youngster. You can still see the impact of that on the wings. This bird has the same grandparent as, or shares a grandparent with the sky blue, so has some of the same genes. I did breed with this bird last year. It produced 3 offspring, of which one of the hens of this we looked at earlier, which was the opaline light green. So at least we know she can produce some quite nice birds. You can see it's quite stands very nice upright bird. Got a henny type head across above the top of the head, so not too bad in terms of the tail, although you can see there is some slight hinging of it, but it's not too bad. But a nice long bird, and I think put to the right cockbird will add something hopefully this year. There we go, there's the two of them together again. Yellow face on the left and the cinnamon on the right. So that was birds 3 and 4. Let's take a look at the top 2 hens then. So let's start by looking at this opaline cinnamon grey green. This I think is probably the best hen in my shed at the moment, and is a 2022 bred hen. I do like this bird. Her grandparent was a normal grey that I had bred, and was probably one of the best birds I've ever bred. So I'm quite pleased that this one's sort of following his style. As a youngster, this bird did have a few issues around flight feathers, but most of them appear to have grown back, although it never seems to have a full set of flights. But there you go, can't have everything. Yeah, I really do like this bird. It's a nice big hen, carries itself reasonably well, and comes from, like I say, one of my better lines. So yeah, probably the best hen in the shed at the moment, and is a 2022 bred. So I think It was quite early bred, so it probably will get a chance in the breeding cage quite quickly. So that's this opaline cinnamon grey-green. And the next bird we're going to look at is this yellow face opaline cinnamon grey, and it's actually, this bird is actually the sister of the bird that we just looked at. So had quite a bit of success with that particular pairing. Unfortunately, I can't put the parents of these two birds back together because I lost the hen, but I certainly will put the cockbird back. This is another nice bird. I don't think it quite has as much as her sister, but you know, there's not a lot between them, I wouldn't have thought. Nice big hen. Once again, stands nicely on the perch. Doesn't have too much over the top, which I don't mind that in a hen. Gives it that sort of, I suppose, that hen look about it. Reasonable sized spots. No sign of the hinged tail, and no flight problems with this one. So there we go, two siblings, sisters, out as my top two birds, or top two hens for this year. Both will get a go in the breeding cages. So there we go, that's bird one and bird two, my best two hens, or at least in my view. Let me know your thoughts. Well, that is all of the hens now sorted out. The top 10, I've just, for convenience, I've placed them in the breeding cages, 2 per cage, just so it makes it easy for me when it comes to pairing up, finding them, pulling them out, putting them in a show cage and looking at them with their potential partner. The remainder of the hens have now gone into one of the other flights, one of the holding flights. So they are my surplus hens, some of which I may use, some of which will probably go into, like I say, surplus stock. That's about it for this video. I will look at pairing the birds up at the end of September, and I'll talk through how I go about that in that video. If you don't want to miss it, then don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and of course early notifications, then do click on the bell. As always, please do comment in the comment section or over on the Facebook page, and if you enjoy the videos, then hit the like button. But until the next video, please do stay safe and enjoy your birds.